Yo, guys. So I'm gonna be straight up honest with you right now. And to be fair, I wouldn't be showing my face on camera anyway, since it's a discussion, but my eyes are kind of puffy. Um, I've got myself a drink to calm down, and I think we can have a productive discussion trying to reconcile everything that we've experienced because my goddess and what happened to her. The fucked up part is that I still don't hate Mukuro or Junko for that matter. I mean, I can never hate Junko, but that was one of the most fucked up things I've seen in the entirety of Danganronpa. How much I love CHISA. So anyway, with me is Ku, as always,
Yo.
and
Also
I'm
feeling like shit.
trying to recover, man. I'm trying to recover, but we're gonna spend the majority of this stream trying to reconcile all of our theories and figure out how this will play over to Mirai-hen and the ultimate consequences of what transpired in this episode. So where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about like anything else outside of it before we just dive head into the CHISA stuff?
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that. I thought you were going to lay down like your full theory for this one, right? Or
Okay,
you just
so
going to go through it bit by bit?
I want to go through it bit by bit, but I'm gonna just give a premise for what I was thinking initially first. But I feel like the thoughts that we even just came up with, kind of, it's almost like a puzzle where we can piece it together, to form a whole picture versus just like having two separate theories. Um,
Okay.
but anyway, I'm gonna run through this right now. First of all, for me personally, the events of this episode, and I take that last bit of text as the episode title of CHISA Yukizome Doesn't Smile to mean that the CHISA that we know is now slumbering. Same with the parallels between Izuru and Hajime. CHISA's persona has been warped symbolically for me, and Ku is the one that called it out initially. I agree 100%. What Mukuro was doing in that scene, if people don't understand, I'm sure a lot of people do, but basically she was triggering the pleasure receptors in her brain while she was watching the video of the tragedy of Hope's Peak to incite a correlation between despair and pleasure for CHISA. And that completely superseded the loving goddess that we've come to know at this point. I think symbolically, Munakata being consumed and burned away and replaced with utter darkness symbolizes despair taking root as the object of her affection at this point. So in terms of the brainwashing, in terms of control, in terms of despair having a hold right now, it's very similar to Mikan's position. That dialogue by the end of the episode is a complete facade. There could be more to it than that. And I do not think she herself has been snuffed out entirely, but she's been utterly warped right now. So that's how I feel about it. What I was thinking initially, as soon as I saw that scene, it instantly flashed back to trying to reconcile what happened with Juzo and Munakata in the last episode of Mirai-hen. And for me, based on the dialogue we got between Munakata and Juzo in this episode, where the man, first of all, pinpoints that they were aware of Junko's presence, also showcases that Kizakura had no hand in bringing them in there. So the man was an absolute god through and through. Jin just makes so many mistakes over the course of his tenure, but that's not what we're talking about. Juzo, first of all, directly somewhat ignores Munakata's orders to an extent. He's following in line with them, but Juzo, and as we know, you can still argue that he's in love with Munakata. For me personally, I 100% believe he has feelings for CHISA. That's how it's been presented to me. That's how I interpret it. And I think that supersedes his loyalty to Munakata. So what I think is going to happen, and what the point of contention was between them, potentially, there's so many things that complicate this, and Ku's going to kind of explain going into tying in his theories. But potentially, when Munakata, after he stabbed him, and he's like, why? And he's like, and then proceeds to be like, damn you, despair. I believe that it was all rooted in CHISA. The shade that we initially found in her from the beginning is somewhat confirmed. I think it could be mitigated. I think it could be reconciled, especially with her dialogue to Naegi, as Ku pointed out. the potential healing of the Neo World program, potentially bringing Mirai in there as well. But personally, the way it's oriented, and especially I very well think once we get into the Zero events, most likely next episode, CHISA will in fact be the Monokuma Maid. It's been set up in the opening. It's been foreshadowed. It's a matter of if her consciousness snaps back or not. But regardless, I think that Tengan's words refer to that. I still can't reconcile it with Tengan because I don't believe there's any shade concerning him. But I think that Munakata was either speaking to CHISA, Juzo having covered up what had actually transpired in this episode, as far as Munakata is concerned, and him having found out at some point after the fact, potentially when they brought her in for therapy to the Neo World program, or something of that nature. And he was either speaking to that as a result, he's held a grudge about that, or he was speaking to Junko, potentially even knowing that she's persisting and taking root in Kyoko, for example, if that theory holds true. But those are just some of the preliminary thoughts I've had. Some of it has been altered as we've continued to discuss. I think there's various ways this can go. I think there's no way to avoid the fact that CHISA is the Monokuma Maid, though. That's 100%. So, Jesse, called that early on. I have to applaud you on that. Last thing I want to say about it. Actually, no, we'll leave it at that for now. I'll bring in the other points as we go along. So, Ku, you take it away now.
I am just so mind-fucked right now. Just like CHISA was, man. Oh, God. No.
It's too soon. It's too soon.
It's too soon, man. Oh. I don't know, man. I still think CHISA is doing good in the future. There's too many things that led me to that conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering now, because you were talking about the episode title, CHISA Yukizome doesn't smile. I'm wondering if that means from now on, but also persisting into future side. Like with everything that goes down, if she does like remain broken in the future until the point where they do put her in the Neo World program and erase whatever she does while she's with Junko, then yeah, maybe that's it. She could still remember a little bit of it. She still feels like crap. She still doesn't like what's going on with Munakata, like killing the despair and everything.
You gotta state what you think is gonna happen first, so they'll understand where you're coming from with that.
Oh, it's painful, man. I think the reason that they separated Chiaki with CHISA, the reason that they set it up so that Chiaki met CHISA and still thinks she is normal CHISA and she's fine, is that they're going to be presented with CHISA leading Chiaki around, and then eventually right in front of the 77th class students, CHISA's going to reveal what's actually happened to her and kill Chiaki right in front of them all, sending them all into despair, ending Chiaki's life. But one thing I think is going to happen is the same thing I thought when I thought Chiaki was going to die during the tragedy, is that she's not going to be too worried about herself. She's going to be more trying to talk to CHISA at that point, trying to like calm her down and remind her of who she is rather than thinking about her own survival. And she may well snap CHISA out of the despair-induced mode. That may be the first time that Izuru finds something that isn't boring and isn't despair. Because he even said boring when he saw CHISA getting brainwashed. I think part of that was because he was hoping, kind of like on a Komaeda kind of thing, that there would be a hope level that would be able to overturn Junko's bullshit. And if he finally gets to see that through Chiaki Nanami's death, that would be a good reason for him to be looking forward to that kind of stuff in the future, and his plan to take out Junko and all of that kind of shit.
And like I said, I love how that catalyst plays into the original Ultimate Future theory that you made, because I really do like the symbolism there. I was gonna say
flowers for her and like saying that he was going to use Junko like she used him. It all fits, I think.
I do want to clarify that we're going to get into the potential for her to, after this point, be cured via the remedy of the Neo World program. But regardless, if CHISA kills Chiaki with her own hands, that's the perfect impetus for the entirety of the class to fall into despair. Outside of that, CHISA's state of mind now, I'm not saying, like I said before, I'm not saying that her initial persona has been erased. What I'm saying is, and I like the parallel again between Hajime and Izuru, that the real Chisa is still in there, and it's a matter of bringing that back to the surface. What if even going into Mirai-hen, they go through all of that? She's seemingly cured, but there's still roots of despair in there that she can't surmount. That would be interesting as well. See, none of this is me trying to lay out any concrete one path theory. I'm just throwing out possibilities, as I love to do. So yeah, that's it's just crazy to me, man. It's crazy to see that. It was painful to see that. And there's no way you can ignore the shade surrounding her completely. So there has to be a way. If you don't want it to be the focal point, you have to remedy it, as Ku is doing with his theories.
Yeah, because there's just too much to hint at her being a force of good, even in Mirai-hen. For me,
no, I
obviously,
agree.
people have different opinions.
See, that's the thing. I agree. I just want to. I like looking at both through both lenses and looking at both possible routes. You know what I'm saying? Unless I like espouse a central theory, I'm always just tossing out possibilities. That's what I love to do. But regardless, I will say that I think there is a way to reconcile. I agree with you completely that it does seemingly, from her dialogue, especially the conversation with Naegi, it seems like she's working towards hope to an extent there. Even if she had a hand in it, and especially going to Ku's theory, which if you guys haven't seen, the Remnants theory, you guys should check that out. But I think it could still bleed into that for sure. I think this is something that could have easily been remedied in the past, but it was just interesting to think about it in light of the confrontation between Munakata and Juzo.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I'm thinking of now as well, one thing that I didn't quite understand, but I never put much thought into, was why when Munakata, Kyosuke, and Tengen and Kizakura, pretty much everyone at the top of the Future Foundation is just crazy about killing despair. They don't actually like the idea of trying to heal it. I mean, we've even seen Munakata try and kill off Izuru and the rest of them before shit went down. Why did they even have a specific branch, which Miyaya Gekogahara led, which was part security, but also part finding cure for despair? And they did build up the Neo World program. I think that strengthens the idea a little bit, maybe, that he wanted to save Chisa, and that's the only reason he would actually continue with that. Maybe that's why he went on the crazy crusade against despair as well, was because he was pissed at them.
And
maybe that's why he wants to kill Izuru
exactly.
so much.
Well, that's its own thing entirely. Yeah, that I like that thought. I was just about to say, though, maybe if that was what he had as his end goal in his heart, that even though he was trying to establish his sense of hope and his ideals, he was still at the back of his mind trying to remedy Chisa completely. And what if that failed? What if in that initial altercation that we assume happened during the first slumber, he realizes that that failed? And that's why he's gone so far off the rails now.
Oh, okay.
Is that like there's no point in even trying to remedy them, just kill them all.
Yeah.
I personally don't think that could be the case, but I mean it could. I don't think that's what's happening. It's crazy. There's so many ways it can go, man. So many.
Yeah, they've set this up so damn well.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just hard to reconcile any shade with Chisa with Tengan. Really is.
Yeah. Because Tengan just seemed so perfect.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't want to disgrace the man's memory after I abolished all the shade around him. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's the same as Kizakura. There's just no shade to be thrown on them anymore.
Exactly. Okay, we'll come back to this because I do want to ponder a little more, see if anyone throws out any of their own ideas on how this progresses going forward. Let's talk about the other elements of the episode. We saw, quote unquote, the ultimate imposter's true visage. Until Kodaka says himself that is the ultimate imposter's face, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. You know how many different looks he can possibly have. To me, especially since his voice didn't change from Byakuya, it struck me as, okay, we're gonna make things easier for you guys to work with this shit. I'm just gonna don a different face for the time being. That's how it struck me.
I mean, maybe that's it. It wasn't him ripping off a mask. It was him changing his face just to show off the fact that he is the ultimate imposter.
That's the thing too. Basically, you can interpret his dialogue. Remember when Mikan was there and he was talking when Ryota was kind of like overworked. He doesn't really remember his original self like that. It's like it's been lost. So I don't think it's him.
Ryota will probably have a redemption moment in his death. Jesus.
Let's talk about Ryota in this episode, man. That line, all for stupid anime.
Oh,
the very thing that saved his life has been broken.
His whole reason for living, he was working himself to death just to produce that anime as well.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Now he feels like he's wasted his life on that.
It's fucked up. It's really fucked up, man. I mean, that's the thing. I still think his character can go either way. I know a lot of people think Ryota is the mastermind. I still think it could go either way. I think that he can be so broken by this that he falls into despair. I think that it could just be the reason for all his trepidation and his anxiety, but he still tries to do right after that fact. What do you think?
Yeah, especially thinking about the fact that Tengen brought him into the Future Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for a while he does give up on anime and he kind of just hides himself, but Tengen manages to track him down and wants him to continue his anime and to join the Future Foundation and do good and find a way to redeem himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Tengen
and that's probably
like that proper teacher kind of person.
Probably goes into his initial idolization of Naegi. I don't know what happened to that. I still thought that he's just jealous. Just letting it overcome.
He was just in love with Kyoko himself by the end.
But
we don't need no Naegi. We're fine. Just the two of us. Tell him, Soda.
Tell him, Soda.
The
Fucking
king.
Soda, man. Talking shit about my boy Komaeda. That pissed me off. See, it's shit like that, man. I'm sorry. This OT3 shit that you're pushing, I'm not buying any.
I mean, Gundam's like bros with him now, and he was saying nice shit about Gundam, and man, they're an OT3. They're an OT3. It's just that, you know, Soda's just the third wheel. That's what he is, but he's always going to be around them.
That's fine. As long it's like, okay, so you're gonna tell me that Juzo, Munakata, and CHISA are an OT3?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because it's the same scenario. You got the two that are actually.
Juzo's friend zoned as fuck, but at the same time, he respects the guy enough that he isn't too unhappy with it.
But for me, Soda's respect is so fake because he realizes is that if you can't beat him, join him thing. Like, Juzo really respects Munakata, or really respected Munakata. Soda's just like, Sonya's changed so much to follow this man's mannerisms. I gotta kind of get behind it too.
That would suck. I just like to think that you grew closer to him.
You just like him, man. I hate him. You know, it's one of those things.
Yeah, he got to me by the end of the game. I hated him so much throughout most of the game.
I'll read it, Ingenious. I'm willing to hear any possible thoughts. She says Mastermind Ryota's trader Kiri Junko is the 16th participant. Killer Canada was returned as attacker. I still wanted to bring my boy Komaeda in there though.
Killer as the attacker would be amazing though. I mean, he loves killing people that have murdered people, so it's no wonder he would go nuts on him.
What branch is that? 7th?
It's the one with Juzo Sakakura leading it. I don't remember.
I think he leads 3rd, 9th. I don't remember. I really don't remember.
I have no idea either. But yeah, they all work.
I think Killer is 7th branch, 7th or 6th branch, but I don't remember. So either way, that would be cool if he was being manipulated for that purpose.
Ingenious. That was the first thing we mentioned on the stream. That we
Yeah.
think Chisa is going to be the one to kill Chiaki.
Yeah, no, that's how we started this off.
Oh, there you go. They're sixth. Crime and Punishment Division.
Sixth. Yeah. Okay. Oh man. But yeah, that Gundam scene saved me. It was literally like tears still pouring down, smile on my face though, because it's hilarious. I wish I like the more ridiculous random theories I come up with. Like I really do want his hamsters to turn to despair and transform into ridiculous creatures.
I mean, there's so much ridiculous shit in Danganronpa. I don't see why not. They could use like some gene manipulation on them. Just like take their brains and put them in other fucked up massive animals so that they can do more damage.
Yeah. But at any rate, I think all right, let's go back to Chisa. So if she does kill Chiaki, you're saying I mean I like the idea of it snapping Izuru out for a bit, but trying to heal Chisa with that arresting our conscience, because even if that wakes her up in that moment, the fact that she killed Chiaki and then because of her actions, her entire class fell into despair, and then we're at the behest of the Future Foundation, them arguing what to do with them, ultimately Munakata pushing for killing them, which she couldn't reconcile either because Munakata is the object of her affection. What if this was the only way she could think of to fix it? What if it kind of is half of your theory of hope and it's going in line with the sleeping drug and everything of that nature, relating to the reanimator, so it changes the perception of the Future Foundation, but at the same time she was the first victim. She set this whole thing up as penance, in order to rescue her beloved class.
I'd be okay with that. So what if knives still kill people?
Yeah,
it's just the NG codes that are safe. That would be okay with me, yeah. Especially since, like, in the opening, her death is her slitting her own wrist with a box cutter.
Yeah. Like she literally, because I've always the only time I question is, remember when we were initially like, yo, we put that on her with the sleeping drug, and I liked that at first, but it came to a point where that was dispelled because we knew Chisa wasn't the attacker. So I like the idea of her as never being able to forgive herself, because then the dialogue with Naegi makes sense. She is still working towards hope, but there is that part of despair in her that she couldn't overcome, that she blames herself for. She doesn't make that separation, and this is her trying to repent for it and save everybody in the process.
Yeah, that would be good in my opinion. Like, that would be a good tortured Chisa trying to do everything right again.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, all I know is Monokuma Maid is going to be a thing. People were saying in the chat earlier they don't think Zero is going to happen because we only have 2 episodes left, but it's not that we have to see the entirety of Zero play out for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't need to be in depth or in detail. They could just gloss over certain portions, show it from a different perspective. Think about how quick Twilight Syndrome was. So
yeah, it was over in like half an episode.
Yeah, so I think they can still do it. And if they're going to make Chisa Monokuma Maid, that they have to. I mean, we have to see Junko Ryoko. It's not happening, you know what I'm saying? It's just not possible.
Oh yeah, they've showed us Matsuda, so they need to show us Ryoko. They need to get that animated Ryoko in there, man.
Exactly. Still think Chiaki is in? No.
Chiaki is the mastermind.
Come on, guys. Chiaki is too pure. Also, Mikan did nothing wrong. Don't get it twisted. Mukuro did nothing wrong. I
believe she was still saying sorry, so even Mikan hasn't completely succumbed to despair yet.
Yeah, I didn't really think so, but I think that she's still under the complete influence. She's been brainwashed to an effect. I think ultimately Chiaki's death again, as a result of her actions as well, will give her that final push to where it just doesn't matter anymore. I think as much as I want Chiaki to survive, I think that is the only real catalyst for all of the class falling into despair at this point, from everything we've seen. Unless Junko just brainwashes all of them.
That would just be shitty, to be fair.
That's just
I'd
yeah.
prefer
That's what I'm
something
saying.
Powerful to take them all at once.
It needs to be a more emotional, impactful thing. It can't just be that. I think that's shitty scripting, to be honest. If it's just like, all right, we're gonna sit you all down and show you this. Like, I like that as how you bring the masses into the tragedy, but not as how you bring the 77th class entirely into the tragedy. So, god damn. And I would appreciate it if everyone here, I don't like to ask this, but if you could hit that thumbs up button to subvert those 2 dislikes that are already there. I hate these people, man. You can just leave, you know. Nobody's forcing you to be here. It's all good. I'm not gonna take it personally.
I just love shitting on other people's ideas, man.
No, I prefer if they shat on my ideas verbally than just hit the thumb down button. Like, what are you accomplishing with that? Anyway, yeah, the hamsters have multiplied, man. It's weird. Start of the Future eats his ham. That's fucked up, Shimus, man.
Wait, what about a ham hand? What?
She was saying that the snake that we see in his despair form ate all of his hamsters, and that's how Gundam falls to despair.
Oh man, that's so messed up. I mean, the hamsters probably just died of old age by that point.
Yeah, they don't have those. Hamsters have really short lifespans.
Yeah. I like to think he had a good big army of them before that, though. But they've just kept multiplying, so give it a little while.
Dude, my theory is they watch him as he masturbates, and you know that's when they breed.
Oh, fuck. I mean, yeah, they do seem to feel all the exact same emotions as him, so why not?
So
that's how they fall into despair, man, because they're going to fall into despair as soon as he does.
Yeah. Didn't you call the type of Junko we were going to see in this episode last week?
Junko?
Yeah. I believe you were like, we're going to see Teacher Junko next.
Oh, no, because we saw Teacher Junko last week.
Oh, did we? I don't remember last week's episode anymore. It's been completely erased from my mind.
Yeah, when she was explaining the plan to Ryota, she went Teacher Junko for the first time.
Yeah.
That was nice.
God damn, dude. That shot of CHISA at the end is fucking with me heavily.
Yeah, it was so good.
But, I mean, the episode is pretty straightforward. Let's talk about Komaeda for a second, because I remember during the stream you harbored the idea that he was so jarred by Izur's existence that he'd kind of given up on hope. I don't think that's possible.
Nah, I don't think he was so much giving up on hope, but he thought there was no way the class was going to be able to overcome his despair.
Oh, you meant like his faith in the ultimates had been shaken.
Yeah. It's probably that kind of level where he figured that was a good stepping stone for him, but not for them. He puts himself on that ultimate hope level.
How are Gundam and Nekomar going to fall into despair, though, because they aren't with the class? I mean, that's why I think Chiaki's death is the cause. I wholeheartedly believe it now. I mean, I've been one of the biggest proponents for wanting her to survive, but I don't think it's happening. You fool, you think simple reverse course students can even lay a finger on the generals of the 12 Zodiac. I'm telling you, that line is what saved me this episode, man.
Tell you what, that would be an interesting way for Gundam to fall into despair, though, with the reserve course kill his hamsters in front of him.
Fuck
that would actually be a really depressing scene for me. Not on that CHISA level, but I would probably cry seeing that shit go down.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't know about the 12, but the 4 divas are like instrumental to his character. So,
man.
I mean, if I'm surprised people wholeheartedly believe Chiaki is the 13th leader. Like, I'm not gonna dispute it. It's a good theory. I just don't think you can say that 100%.
I think, yeah, you just can't really say anything 100% now.
True.
That's just why I don't like people coming in and being like, this is wrong because this, and they're still speculating as well. It's like, okay, we have two different theories. We'll see which one plays out, kind of thing.
Yeah. If it's all brainwashing, I don't like that. I mean, it could very well just be that. I feel like I like the idea of Junko toying with their volatile emotional state, having experienced that, and them genuinely. Because the thing about the remnants of despair is that they genuinely worship Junko. I don't think that just that same type of brainwashing on every single one of them is going to have the same effect, if that makes sense. The reserve corps the reserve corps students are fodder, so of course, yeah, that's how they came under them. But
yeah, for the ultimates, you have to do something much more fun.
Yeah, I mean, how do you reconcile Izuru's actions? You just 100% believe that the entirety of his tenure there, he was trying to work against Junko.
No, I don't think he's trying to work against Junko right now. I think for now, the only thing he's seen in his short lifespan that interests him is Junko's despair. And he's just hoping for something else to be more interesting to come out of it. I think he's even getting used to Junko's despair at this point. I mean, he found it boring when CHISA fell to despair. So he's looking for something even better than despair out there that will get him more interested as well.
Yeah. And Chiaki having red eyes in the opening, I've always seen as a stylistic choice more than indicating her being despair.
Chiaki doesn't have red eyes in the opening.
No, in the ending. Like that last shot of her. Like that's the color palette. Like none of her shit is colored as Chiaki's is, you know?
Everything is just pink and orange in that.
Yeah, it's an artistic thing. But I mean, hey, if Izuru was working against Junko, he would have killed her by now. See, that's my thing. I think to an extent, Izuru was genuinely a follower of Junko at some point. Because to me, Izuru is a god. And that's just my personal opinion. There's no fact or basis around it. I think that Izuru versus Junko, at the end of the day, Izuru wins.
Yeah, there's no chance. Well, he's already destroyed her when they actually did have a tiny little fight.
Yeah. If Chiaki dies here, who programs the AI Chiaki into the Danganronpa virtual world? I mean, we already know that it's Chihiro, Matsuda, and potentially Miyaya. But one of them, see, that's the thing. And that's what I've been saying since the very beginning of Zetsubou-hen is when do one of these individuals meet Chiaki?
Yeah, from day one, everybody's been wondering if Chiaki and Chihiro would end up having a good friendship because they're quite similar.
That was, I remember saying that first episode. I was like, so Chihiro and I even threw out a crazy theory of them being related. And I was like, no, that can't be the case. But I was just like, they seem similar. Like, even design-wise, they seem similar. But I forgot about it because so much has happened from then to now. So many a time has our theories just been overwritten.
Yeah. Now, at this point, like, I do like the idea that somebody, whether it's Ryota or CHISA, somebody gets to talking to Miyaya about the fucked up shit that went on with Junko, and they managed to get cured over time. But then they talk about Chiaki and how much Chiaki kept the class together even while what's her face.
And so they were like, that's the perfect way to,
yeah,
because that's the thing too. Chiaki as the Watcher doesn't have nearly as much of Chiaki's kind of, I would call it spirit more than anything that we've seen in Zetsubou-hen.
Yeah,
it's like very much emotion. It's really just rooted in the base ultimate personality of Chiaki, like the Chiaki we saw at the beginning of Zetsubou-hen, realistically, minus all that growth. So I could see how you could make an avatar just based off of that base description, but
yeah.
Killing Chiaki out of despair, after which Chiaki is surprised, but eventually tries to talk sense into CHISA, which will surprise Izuru. That's basically what Ku and I said at the beginning.
Yeah. I'm assuming that they're agreeing with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite theory out of it. I do like the idea that I would snap Chisa out as well, but at the same time, that wouldn't like then she couldn't be the Monokuma maid. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
See,
it'll
I
just
think
be
that
everything.
I think that that's the course of next episode, and then there's a resolution with the finale that leads into everything that we know. Um, it's gonna be interesting. I think the key to this whole thought process is what happens in Mirai-hen next. Honestly, and I think we're gonna get a lot of exposition through dialogue between Naegi and Munakata.
Yeah, and through whatever Kirigiri's actually found out in her notebook.
She has a pretty good point. Let me see. What do you think of the second Monokuma Junko chip from Despair Girls? It needs to appear. If you remember the secret ending, you see Izuru wielding the two Monokuma heads that talks with Junko's voice and personality. I'm gonna let Ku field this one.
Well, that one, I always assumed that it took both sides, the Shirokuma and the Monokuma, to make up one Junko. That they were two parts of a whole. You needed the bright side and the dark side. And that Izuru put them together and that created the Junko AI. That's what I'd always assumed. That's what I'd always thought. And then, yeah, a lot of people talked about there possibly being two separate ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a combination idea for myself, personally.
See, I'm probably inclined to think that as well. If there's another path for it, that's the thing too. There's another path for it, then that's something that needs to have proper exposition. Because I think you can make it work that way that Ku just outlined without having to really say anything about it. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go in depth with it. And I was gonna ask earlier, am I reading too much into the Peko run line? Some people are speculating that Peko's already been turned to despair. I don't think so, personally. But I initially thought that she was aware of Mikan's change, but clearly she wasn't. It's also the weird part about that scene to me that Chiaki didn't call out the ultimate imposter from the jump, but it's just a lot of weirdness wrapped around fucking insanity. This Ryota scene, the CHISA scene, which top 5 most fucked up scenes in both arcs of Danganronpa for me personally.
Yeah. I think that was probably number 1 for me, to be honest.
Yeah,
I can't. A character that we loved that much and literally digging into her brain and shit, man.
Like, I'm trying to think of something that I would put over that I can't right now. So that might be it, but I mean, Kizakura death was really fucked up. Tengan death was Seiko's whole thing. Seiko's whole episode really got to me.
Yeah, Seiko's was pretty powerful, but I mean, she was only around for like 5 or 6 episodes. Even though she was sweet, it definitely didn't hold the power that Chisa's torture did.
I'm also looking at it not in like a sense of just like how powerful / emotional it is, but just how fucked up it was. Like, I guess only the tragedy was like that fucked for me. And this dude, that one reserve corps student in this episode, like slicing his neck open.
That was so fucked. Saying how much he doesn't want to die. That's what's weird here. They seem to still have a bit of their personalities intact. Mm-hmm. Mikan apologizing and him apologizing. No, him begging to die as he did it to himself. That's so fucked.
Exactly. So I guess the brainwashing really is a command-based thing too, where you retain your persona to the extent that you can't disobey the initial commands. Because in her interaction with the entire class, Mikan isn't really showing any signs of her despair self, aside from doing what she was told to do. So that could go back to Chisa's state right now, but it seems a bit more sinister to me. Kiri's mother is the mastermind. No. Hyoko, yeah, she is a bitch, but I mean, she does look dope. She does look dope right now, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, she looks a lot better than when she was just a lolly.
Holy shit, I love boats. Notebook is Ryoko's notebook. If they switch to Jabberwock right now, I'll be fine with that, to be honest.
That would be amazing.
Like, keep the suspense up for, like, going into the following episode of Zetsubou. Finally bring us back to or Hajime, rather. I'm really curious to see how they reconcile that, too. Because I like you. I think it was you who said that it could be like a half and half thing. Physically, where like one of the eyes is red.
Oh, yeah, one eye red and one eye the normal Izuru color.
Yeah. I mean, it could very well just be his final form as well. But I like the idea of Izuru rising to the surface, and then that goes back in. That works for my theory about the split between CHISA's true self and what has been done. We'll just call it the Monokuma Maid. That's what we'll do.
Call it despair. Take Munakata's name for it.
I just don't want to call her despair. Yeah, just despair is fine. I don't want to call her despair CHISA because she's not really an ultimate despair in my eyes. But yeah, I don't even my brain trembles right now. I really don't want to think about it much more. And I don't think there's too much else to dive into with this episode. I mean, any final thoughts that you want to throw out there about Ryota? Are we in agreement that we think he's gonna take the more positive route?
Yeah, I think like he's hit rock bottom as he is right now. He'll probably just try to escape, I guess.
I think, see, my thing is, why would the ultimate imposter? He doesn't really give a shit about the class. You know what I'm saying? So that would have to be either a brainwashing case or something.
He does care about the class now.
You think so?
Little by little.
I personally think he cares. I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I would say he does too, but just not as much as he cares about Ryota.
Yeah, he loves Ryota like a brother at this point.
So that's why I was gonna say, but yeah, if it's just the class, that works too. I mean, I was gonna say that potentially something more would have to happen to Ryota for him to fall to despair, but could just be the brainwashing. It could just be his general feelings for the class. I just wonder how Ryota gets saved. I guess it just has to be Tengan himself that intervenes. But I would love a scene between them. I would love a scene between Imposter and him before this ends, where like that's like the saving grace for Ryota.
Oh man, I just can't imagine it. I imagine that's like his thing in Mirai-hen, that he ran away continuously. I mean, even Junko was egging him on for this point as well, saying that he was just running away. He was lying to himself. He never once actually tried to go against anything, and then he pretty much helped her do everything.
Yeah.
He never actually tried to fight back. He was just worried for himself.
Yeah, exactly. So he has grown tremendously as a character. And Dark Master, I will say that is a crazy thought, very interesting thought. I think you need many, many facts to back that up, though. Because you can't, I mean, you can just throw it out there, and I like that you did, because it is a fun thought to entertain, but you have to back that up.
Plus, it's the idea that if Junko is CHISA and Mirai-hen,
well, what if
fuck does it manage to fool Munakata and
the Asahina? What about the fake body and the Asahina? What if the ultimate makeup artist just made the CHISA fake body and Junko is Asahina right now?
Junko is Asahina. That's even more crazy, man. I like the idea, but it's so crazy.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing too. Let's think about the Asahina theory. How would you characterize CHISA's movements if that holds true in light of this episode? Doesn't really change anything for you. Like, I mean, like, if CHISA currently is Asahina, which I personally, I think it's a plausible theory. I don't necessarily like it. It's cool. But in light of what happened in this episode and the potential for there to be more shade there than you initially assumed, would you say that, because what would the point, if it was all for hope's sake and everything, and she's watched everything that's transpired, what would be the point of being Asahina at this point? Unless it was like a shady endeavor. You get me?
Yeah, I can't imagine one. Unless she just literally wanted to still be around and still be helping Naegi. Like, maybe she thought Asahina would be more safe dressed up as her, because people think it's a dead body. Till, Kyosuke went all Kyosuke on it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe she tagged Asahina out, knowing Asahina had already learned about the loss of her brother and was still fine, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Lots of possibilities, man. Just gonna let you. How much time has passed? I wanted to not make this go over an hour. It's only been 45 minutes. We're gonna end this in the next 5 minutes, guys. So throw out your last thoughts about this episode. I'm still. I feel a little bit better now that we've talked this out. Can't put my finger on anything, even though we've laid out a bunch of possibilities. Knowing Kodaka, it'll somehow subvert my expectations.
Yeah, Kodaka's very good at like slipping in ideas that seem like they would work when really he's just leading you to that conclusion to fuck with you. But yeah, my thoughts on the episode were it was amazing. It made me cry for a minute there. It made me feel bad. It made me think, but at the same time, yeah, I can still fit it all into my theories. There's one thing we didn't mention, actually. The fact that it seemed like Munakata, when he showed up, he did know about Junko. Like, he went straight through the files and realized there was something up with Junko.
Oh, we talked about that a little bit.
But, I mean, do you think that the theory that Komaeda was working with him, or do you still think Komaeda was working with Jin and...
I think that if Komaeda was working with anyone, it was Jin and Kizakura. I think Munakata has his own resources. I mean...
So you think Jin and Kizakura were onto Junko and Mukuro as well?
Well, Jin, the files he was looking at, unless I'm mistaken, I'm not. I need to rewatch that scene because that scene is one of the more elusive parts of the episode in my memory.
Yeah, the writing just kind of flew by because it just kept scaling.
But I will say that I would assume that if Jin brought them, both Junko and Mukuro, in there to begin with, because that's what they said, right? That it wasn't scouted by Kizakura, it was like a direct thing on the part of Jin.
Somebody corrected me and said it was the steering committee, which makes more sense because Junko made it her life's work to fuck with the steering committee.
Wow.
Killed like half of them. Jesus.
Okay, well, so I take it back then. My statement at the beginning of the episode is void. That's one less fuck up for Jin. Not too bad.
That was the steering committee.
But either way, I'm guessing he's perusing those files, dude. Because if you think about the whole reason that Juzo and CHISA were operating under his command was to get this information. So it's not a stretch. He came on site himself. He must have had a good enough amount of info at this stage to make whatever moves he needed to make. And at the end of the day, there's still no hint of shade about him right now. His statement about, I won't let you do this to my school, kind of vilifies him right now. Vilifies. It was that V speech you gave the other day.
It's great, man. Got to use all the V words.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know how to reconcile that. I don't know how to reconcile the Tengan stuff. I want some combination of the Remnants of Hope / Ultimate Future Theory to work in conjunction with initial CHISA Shade and her retribution. Like, that's my biggest thing that I've pieced out of this episode, is that CHISA's engagement in the plan, no matter what the end goal of it was for her to pay penance and save her class, more so than even... It's like killing two birds with one stone. You change the Future Foundation's perspective, and at the same time, she gets to save her class, which were the closest things to her heart, aside from Munakata.
Well, yeah, it's that who killed Cock Robin thing coming back in, where people respect for a person and care for them more when they've already died. They see that they were better people after they've died because they can think about things objectively rather than judging them.
Now might be the time to where we have to actually map. I'm surprised no one's done that yet. Tried to map out the Cock Robin animals to characters.
Oh, I don't think there's any major point in that, to be honest. I don't think, like, with how simple that nursery rhyme was, I don't think it was about that so much. I think it was just the idea that deaths make you care about a person more. Like, there's been a general theme in Danganronpa 3 Mirai-hen. They've been killing off the people that had redemption or showed that they were good people.
Yeah. I mean, I would go as far as to say, though, that Kodaka rooted his character, the inception of those Mirai-hen characters, the Future Foundation members, based on those archetypes, though.
Could be.
Because, I mean, there's just in terms of animals, I mean, Ghost is the easiest to map, but still.
Oh, but no, they're all birds.
So why do they refer to them as various different types of animals, though?
No, they're all just different birds.
They give them names of animals, though.
I'll look it up.
I'm going to look it up again, too. I remember reading this for a while.
Cock robin. Oh, no, you're right.
Beetle, owl, rook, lark.
What the
beetle? The beetle and the rest of them are birds. The kite, wren, thrush,
so
bull.
Weird.
The bull.
The bull isn't even actually a bull, though. That's the thing.
Like, oh, it's a bird.
The bull is a bullfinch.
Oh, bullfinch. Okay. See, yeah, I didn't click on it when I was reading it. I was just like, okay, and there it goes.
But yeah, you're right. Like fly, fish, beetle, owl, rook. No, rook's a bird. Owl's a bird. So beetle, fish.
They're all birds except for the fly, the fish, and the beetle. It's weird. Either way, I mean, what if? Yeah, I was just about to say, what if it goes into the remnants of hope thing?
Fish, Asahina. I'm not even thinking of the remnants of hope. I'm thinking of the 78th class. Fish, Asahina, fly.
Fly would have to be Naegi, but I mean,
I said the fly with my little eye. I saw him die. Could be Naegi, I guess. I said the beetle with my thread and needle made the shroud.
Let's just leave it.
Yeah, we'll do this some other time.
No, fuck Hagakure. He doesn't deserve a place. No, I'm just playing. Hagakure, he just sucks, you know? I'm sorry.
I wasn't counting Hagakure because he's not in the building. I was counting the three that were actually in the building for the three.
Exactly.
Fly is the fly on the wall, the 16th participant. Oh.
That is a good one. But, all right, guys. I think we're going to end this here. We have a lot to think about at this point. I'm looking forward to Ku's review. I, of course, will not be doing one because, as you see in the title, this is my review. So, yeah. Thank you guys for coming through. I really appreciate it. I loved a lot of your thoughts, and I can't wait to hear more. If you have anything else you think of, please don't hesitate to leave in the comments and smash that like button if you enjoyed. Is there anything else you want to add?
Hashtag Naegiri, because why not?
And hashtag Weeby is the mastermind.
Yes, Weeby is totally the mastermind.
But anyway, Chi says love, and we're out. Peace.
Little.